Hey guys, this is Senko, and I'm a machinist from Cerberus, and I'm coming at you guys with another video, but this time of an A2 Savage kill that we did, to show you guys how I deal with this fight as a machinist, and how our static does it as well. So without further delay, let's get straight into it. So on the pre-pull we get a sucker, standard stuff, but I only pop Blood for Blood and Hawk's Eye, and the main reason for that is, if I pop any longer cooldowns like Hypercharge or Raging Strikes, they don't line up later on during the fight where I want them to line up. And you're going to see that later on as well. We have our Dragoon be the one inside the Goldwalker for the fight. And he drops a Battle Litany on the way. But on wave 2, we have a pre-positioned Bishop, and then we dot everything up with Lead Shot. Once we've dotted everything with Lead Shot, this is where I pop Rapid Fire and Reload and go nuts on Grenade Shot. And obviously I use Invigorate around 600 TP to make sure I don't screw up my Invigorate timing at all towards the fight. But for wave 3, what we do as a static is we have me, the machinist, use Blank on the Sniper to push the mobs to where our AoEs are. So push the Sniper specifically, I should say. Because that's just how we deal with it as a static, and that's where everything gets AoE down, that's where everything dies. That's just how we do it as a static. And because the thing about A2 is it's largely static based and composition based. You can develop your own strats per static to deal with each individual wave, depending on what you're comfortable with, which is great about the fight. So wave 3 is going to die. Nothing special, it's only wave 3. So, but when wave 3 dies, for wave 4, what we do is standard stuff. We have a pre-positioned Bishop to where the mobs are going to spawn. And again, we just dot everything up with Lead Shot, because the amount of damage you get out of Lead Shot for how much TP it costs if it runs its full duration is outstanding. So, but what we do here is once we've dotted everything with Lead Shot, we go nuts on Grenade Shot again. But once we hit around 300 TP, we have Rook with a TP regen out show up, and then we kill everything. Because as a static, this is the only time TP users get any sort of regen. For our static, because how we usually tend to do this fight is we don't usually take any breaks. We just tend to zerg the whole fight until it's done. But we have, so at this point, this is the only time TP users get any sort of regen at all, and we have to make sure that our Dragoon gets at least 2 charges off this Goldwalker to make sure he doesn't screw up how much energy he has for the fight as well. So once this Goldwalker dies, it's at this phase here where I first use Raging Strikes. And what we do here is we have the healers stand in the middle of both Gob Widows, so both soldiers run to the healers, and that's where the soldiers get stunned. And then the soldiers die to AoE because we have the Scholar and Summoner, which allow us to completely destroy the enrage timer of this fight. So, and at this point we go nuts. We go nuts on our usual wildfire burst phases. And because what we do here is as a static, we don't restun the soldiers. We kill the soldiers in 1 stun. So at that point, we make sure that even though the soldiers get hit by the AoEs, we make sure that we hit the soldiers maybe 1 or 2 times to make sure that they die within 1 stun. Everyone does it. It's just how we deal with it as a static. But once the first Gob Widow dies, and then we swap to the next Gob Widow, what we do is we have the healers stand at a specific spot, so the next wave that spawns, all of them will run towards the healers. It's kind of like our go-to strat. Just use healer aggro to make it easier for positioning. So everything's gonna run to the healers, and then they get stunned here. So our kill order here is Hard Helm, Gob Widow, Gob Walker, and Jagged Doe. So with the Hard Helm, we single target the Hard Helm here. And then we kill the Gob Widow. But the Gob Widow roughly dies around the same time. If we do it right, there you go. It dies roughly at the same time as the Hard Helm as well. So at this point, we swap to the Gob Widow. It's also at that point when that phase starts where I have Bishop out, regenning mana. And that doesn't go off until I run out of mana. And because that's kind of like how we deal with our resources as a static for this fight. So I'm just going to run out of mana here because of Bishop's basically on until I run out of mana for the sake of the healers. We also make sure that our Dragoon gets a couple of charges here for so he doesn't screw up his energy again. And with a single target the Jagged Doll here. I don't pop any cooldowns for this Jagged Doll. It's important that I have it for the next phase, because the next phase is timed. The next phase is timed, so it doesn't spawn after you kill everything. So with the with the 4 Jagged Doll phase here, you have a certain time limit to kill these before the next wave spawns. So at this point, it's important that we try and get as much damage as we can to the Jagged Dolls here. So what we do is we mark up a kill order, and then we go nuts on the damage. Actually, I make a small mistake here where, I try and get a blank in terms of wildfire. I actually don't make it, and I end up getting hit by the bomb. That was kind of like really stupid of me. It's no big deal, but it's wasted resources in terms of mana. But as a machinist, I tend to get really greedy for wildfire damage. But at this point, we're just killing the Jagged Dolls by the kill order, obviously. And then what we do is, when we kill the first 2 Jagged Dolls, we drag the next 2 to where the majority of where wave 8 spawns, which is to the corner. And you're going to see that in a second. So we kill Jagged Doll number 2. And so what we do is, when Jagged Doll number 2 dies, we drag both the last 2 Jagged Dolls around to this corner here, because this is where the majority of wave 8 spawns. And then this is where, and you're gonna notice that I don't use raging strikes on the previous wave as well. So it's at this point where I use hypercharge and all of my cooldowns to AoE down this wave. And it's important that we do it, because it's this is where these mobs get re-stunned, but you do need a lot of DPS to kind of kill them in 2 stuns. And we actually make a slight mistake here, because usually what we do is, when everything gets stunned, the hard helm and the hard mine, they get single targeted down, but the DPS us in general, we just went nuts on the AoE. And see, when they come out of stun, they one-shot our summoner, and I almost died to it. So what we do here is we survived just about, and we thought, okay, let's revive the summoner, obviously, and then let's take a bit of a break, because we don't usually do it, but it's at this point where there was a lot of wasted mana because the healers had to res, and the summoner's out of mana as well. So we just thought, okay, we have time. We can just regen some resources. I mean, at this point, the enrage isn't a problem at all. I think at that point, when our summoner died, when we chose to take a break, we had about 3 minutes to the enrage. So at the final wave here, obviously the soldiers get stunned straight away, bishop, AoE, all that good stuff, and I dot everything up. But it's important that I dot both soldiers up, because these are the main threat here. If they don't die in 1 stun, we just die to banging zoom. And obviously it's easy because this is where our LB gets used. So the soldiers are gonna die here in a second now. I save my cooldowns here because once the snipers are down, we go straight to the gob walker, and I don't use my cooldowns there. I use my cooldowns on the Jagged Doll. So once we kill this gob walker here, I use my cooldowns, my wildfire cooldowns, I should say, towards the Jagged Doll. And the main reason for that is the Jagged Doll and the Gob Widows are like probably the only 2 mobs in this fight that has enough health to survive a full duration for wildfire to go off. So at this point here, I have my final wildfire burst phase on the Jagged Doll, and he just about survives for the wildfire to go off as well. And you're gonna see that in a second. So at this point here, see, there you go. Like when wildfire blew up, he had like 1% left. So we have a kill order for the Gob Widows. At this point, once the Jagged Doll dies, it's a guaranteed kill. It's also the point where our Dragoon jumps out and starts DPSing. At this point, we have about like a minute and a half to the enrage. But this fight as a machinist, it's not about maximizing the amount of usage that you're gonna have out of your wildfire. But as a machinist, this fight, at least for me personally, is making sure that your cooldowns are hitting the most effective targets. And what that means is making sure that you're using your cooldowns on waves or targets that need to die ASAP. But it's not about maximizing the amount of uses you have out of your wildfire. But at this point, when we finally killed this final gob widow, we had about 45 seconds to the enrage, even though we took like maybe a 15-second break. But yeah, this fight's really fun as a machinist. But at that point, this is the first time our Dragoon gets a piece of gear after weeks of running it, so congratulations to him. But thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be doing a video for A3 as well, so please look forward to that. Our Astrologian is actually doing one as well for A1, A2, and A3, and so on and so forth. So basically the same thing, POV with commentary to make from an Astrologian point of view, so please look forward to that. And I'll see you guys in the next video, and thanks for watching.